Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Katelyn from Florals.com and welcome back to another video, or welcome if you are new. I am excited to be bringing you guys another embellishment cluster tutorial. You guys are really liking these right now, and again, I do plan on using these embellishments in my projects later this month. So I thought we'd round it out with a nice third video before we start diving into the projects and working with the March 2021 How to Kill a Kit with Style. So if you guys have not seen the previous videos, I'll have those linked down below so you guys can check them out. That'll be the kit share and then the two other embellishment DIY videos we went over. But today, I just thought we'd dive right back in and start making a bunch of different embellishments. I talk about a lot of different techniques and ways I go about doing DIY embellishments in several videos on my channel. So if you have not checked those out, definitely check it out down below and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on future videos for this kit and all the crafty content to come. But just laying out here all the embellishments I have in my kit. We have the cut aparts from the paper pad, puffy stickers, washi stickers, epoxy stickers, cork stickers, my sticker book, and then some labels and fun stickers from Heidi Swap back here. So I thought it'd be fun to do a label cluster to start us off today. You guys know I don't love to waste a label. I love a good label, as a label should be to write on. But I thought today a lot of people don't know what to do with their excess labels, so I thought we'd start with that and go from there. I think we're going to do the gold. I'm just really drawn to it. And gold is something that I do use regularly on my pages. We'll actually keep this sticker page open, but the good news is I have done more unpacking and I do have my powder tool, so this is what I've referenced in previous videos. This is the EK Success powder tool, which is simply just a tool filled with, I believe, scented baby powder. You can totally DIY this with your own baby powder if you have sensitivities to scent, and it's just got a brush applicator at the end so that you can dust it onto things. Usually used to reduce static cling for things like shaker cards and embossing, but can also be used to de-stickify stickers. So you just keep going until it's no longer sticky. Like I said, you don't need to buy a tool for this. You can totally DIY it yourself, and there's other means to do so. Putting it on some cardstock, then cutting it out, you know, just taking out a step like this could be faster in other areas. So we have a little label here, a little gold label, and it is a good starting point. Now, knowing that I like to use labels for little bits of information, I might put a date here, I might put a location here. So keeping that in mind as I start to try to build out a cluster with it. Now, I could pull in some more stuff from the Heidi Swap set. I could put this heart underneath it. Obviously, I don't have a ton of stuff to work with here. I could layer this underneath and put the You Are Loved on top. We've got some hearts, but I thought we'd dive into the cat sticker sheet because you guys know me. I adore my cats. So this is one that we talked about last time, and I find stickers with awkward shapes like this, like with this awkward white space, really hard to work with sometimes, and building them into a cluster is a great way to alleviate that. So what you could do is put this on a doily, for example, if you had that going on your layout, and then put the label on top to help fill in that gap. Unless you really liked the cute little legs, you know, some people like that stuff, and then closing that gap like that. Or you could pull in some smaller ones. Now, clusters can be so many different sizes. I've made really small ones. I've made really large embellishment clusters. Here I could pull in this little cat here, or that flower if I wanted to make it more generic, less cat-like. I could pull in this little flower piece or one of the other smaller flowers and just do a pairing like this, so just setting it on top as so, just for something small and dainty and cute. Just put together, don't have to think about it. Then I could then go ahead and add more. Now, since we do have gold already on here, I wouldn't bring in the cork arrows because they have silver foil, but it is an option to add something like that in. We could also consider one of the puffy stickers from the same collection. I could pair that right here. I think I'd go with one of these flower ones. It's just a matter of figuring out which one I think works best contrast-wise, but if I know what I'm already scrapbooking about, it's much easier to continue to add themed embellishments. So for this one, I really liked the white flower because it was little contrast, but a lot of dimension. So now I just have a 2-flower label cluster. Let me bring it up close to you guys. Because of this, you can definitely use this for a date. You can definitely use this for a location, a little bit of journaling. Some people can journal really small. I do not have that talent, but you can do something like that. And we've talked about this before, but something simple as just 3 pieces put together can be a great starting point for your page, because an embellishment cluster does not have to be finished before it goes on a page. You can incorporate other things afterwards, sequins, washi, wood veneer, whatever it may be, mixed media even, to the cluster after it's already established and placed on a layout so that it better fits the layout theme. So if we leave that little guy up here, actually I'll put him over here so you guys can still see. Then we can dive into another one. Let's jump over and do more of these cut aparts. Let's take a look at these guys. Now these are from Maggie Holmes Bloom, which is part of my kit. And I find these sort of cut apart pieces, if they're generic enough, to be amazing cluster bases. And again, depending on what size you traditionally work with, if you're doing pocket pages, you won't necessarily want large cut aparts into these huge clusters, but you totally can. So it really depends. If you're doing 12 by 12s, you can really go big with clusters and it will usually work out for you. So I'm kind of thinking this little sold ticket here would be really cute to cut out. And again, it's one of those things that depending on your style, if you don't like unrealistic embellishments on your pages, some of these things may be more difficult to utilize onto your pages than others. This does have some runoff for the printing on this guy, so I'm going to trim it so it fits. So this is going to be a rather large cluster, which I don't mind. I do work with 12 by 12 quite a bit, as you guys know. So we have this little sold piece. Really cute. It has a couple things. So this could totally be used for journaling because it has a date spot and it just has some lines. It says something number 4 and date required. But I instantly thought of this baby pink matching with this Heidi Swap pink. So what's nice about these two items, although different designers, we got Maggie Holmes for the cut apart, Heidi Swap for the sticker, they both have a similar pink tone included. And there's also this vintage tape piece here to give it that vintage vibe that pulls in some of these brisker yellows in the background here. So I could totally layer these together and it could totally work. I'm not saying I will do that. I could cover up the sold piece because I don't really like that. It really depends on what I'm feeling for that particular cluster. So if I put that back, really the pinks match the cat the best. I'm not gonna lie, I really like that, but I definitely wanted to flip through the washi tape first. Now when you're working with washi strips, washi tapes, washi rolls, whatever it is, sometimes what I find is that if you can't test it first on the product to know how see-through the washi is, because some are opaque and some are not, it can be really difficult. So if we scroll through here, flip through rather, and decide to pick one out, you can kind of see these do have yellowy bases to them, so keeping that in mind as well. We already have words on here, so I'm going to avoid the word-based ones. We could bring in this nice fun blue color. The text print could go really well with that vintage theme. This does give me collage feels though, and it really makes me want to do a collage piece sometime soon. I almost think I want to try this floral right here. And a good test to start is just to peel it off the backing or the washi roll itself. And these are not cut very well, so I do need to be careful. And just to see how much you can see through it. And sometimes you just want a white piece of paper because this will also prove if it is going to be that actual cream color, if it's part of the backing. This one is cream based, so comparatively to this cream sort of vintage tape thing that we were talking about earlier, it does not go very well. So I would opt not to use that one just because of my personal taste of putting those two types of items together. I could revisit this floral washi that we tried last time. And what's fun is to build off of things that are pre-existing. So we already have that little tape line there at the bottom. So what if I added actual tape on top as so, and just added those extra colors? So what I like to do is start small, start with one color, start somewhere. It could be monochromatic, it can be anything you want, but by introducing one more thing that may be a little bit more complicated, I've done a color story on this. And what's nice is because I'm doing embellishment clusters within my kit, I know I already have embellishments I've worked on that will match. Because again, all within the same kit. So go check out that one if you haven't already. It'll be linked down below. So even that, just adding that washi tape can count as an embellishment cluster. Don't let anyone tell you that it has to be a lot of pieces and a lot of dimension for it to count, because it can be really anything you wish it to be to prep you for your layouts to come with your kit. And again, some people don't like to make embellishment clusters before they start their pages or before they know what they're scrapbooking about. I'm okay with that kind of flexibility like the one we've made today already. It's just a label with some flowers. I know I can use that no matter what. So keeping that in mind as you go along and understanding your style for it. Now we could of course always revisit the cut aparts, do some punches, do some fun things. We could add wood veneer now, we could add labels now. The possibilities are endless, but since we have, I'll say, cornered myself, because I think now that since I have this vintage theme plus these doodle flowers, I'm maxed out on themes I can bring into this particular piece. But that's again my personal sort of crux with making embellishment clusters. I like to keep them simple to start and then ease into it. So one thing that we can totally add, if it is, again, your style, are phrase stickers. If they are generic enough, it will work no matter what. So like the word details and hello can work on any page. Choose happy, adventure, favorite, and best. Really depends, but most of the time, these generic words work for us. So you can always add one of those to the item. We can bring in the puffy stickers. Again, we went for a vintage type theme, so these might be harder to incorporate since they're a bit more clean and crisp. But we do have the wonderful Maggie Holmes sticker book, and I knew this is where we'd go next, so I thought I'd bring it up here. And we'll go through. As you guys know, I am trying to work through this sticker book as best as I can, so hopefully we will make some progress by adding one or two things. Now we, again, do have this doodle texture that is different because it's from Jen Hadfield rather than Maggie Holmes, but keeping that in mind, there's still options of what we can pair with it. We can add more words, like we've said before. You don't necessarily have to keep the word that's here. Cover up anything you want on an embellishment cluster. Just because an embellishment comes as is does not mean you can't alter it and change it for what you need. We have these little deer I could add. They're a slightly different cream shade than this one, especially since we went that hard yellow vintage color. And as you can tell, I am running sparse on some of these pages. I do really like this particular font and style for the phrase stickers because it's a typewriter font, which matches the typewriter font here on this grid. So let's see what we have here. We have some that say beautiful, so amazing, happy, happy, perfectly charming, something so wonderful, I love this, and lovely. So the word lovely would be perfect because, again, it goes with so many different things. And what's nice about sticker books is they don't stick very well, so you always have to go back and add more adhesive most likely. So keeping that in mind as you go through, then you can rearrange things much more easily. And then if I were to use, maybe bring in some of these ones down here, which are a bigger, bolder font, but they include a light blue interior, so that kind of brings in that light blue here from these, I think they're bluebells. I'm not sure what types of flowers they're actually supposed to be. So we have the word lovely, and I think the word wonderful would also fit well on a majority of my pages and what I scrapbook. And again, it could be really anything. Now, because of the cutting on this particular sticker, there is some overdraft on the color black that was next to it, so I'm going to trim that off. Totally just a thing that I do and definitely doesn't need to be done. I think there's some pink on the bottom too, but that's okay. So I'm kind of trying to think wonderful, then lovely. And I like them off slanted just for a little bit of dimension. And now that I'm seeing this, I almost want another layer in between. So I could peel up these phrase stickers here and then use one of these hearts again from Maggie Holmes. So it's a perfect match. Almost. It's not exactly the same match because they're different materials, but you can imagine they're pretty similar. And then add on these guys after. So then we have another layer in there. And again, thanks to them being sticker book stickers, they are much more repositionable than a lot of other stickers are. So that's something to always look forward to for that ease of learning how to cluster. It might be a great idea to start with your sticker books if you do have some, especially the American Crafts ones. I'm not sure about too many of the other brands, but now we're at a crossroads because now we have more phrase stickers with that same blue, but also note I've already covered up all the blue I was referencing anyway. So do I need to include them? No. So I could put this back. And to be honest, I'm leaning towards putting it back because of how many words are already on here, and I'll do a close-up check-in here so you guys can check it out. But as you can see, we have that giant sold on the left, and that is just a bit bold, even though it's a lighter color. And then we have the requisition number, the 4 date required date, and 2, and then the little word that I've added. So there's definitely a lot going on already, especially if you picture this on your page with a date on it, with journaling on it. Sometimes I do journal on these. They can get a little bit messy because they obviously have boxes to work around, but you can definitely make it work. And that's kind of what I'm leaning towards using this particular one as, is a journaling spot. And again, we have more phrase stickers we could pick. Sometimes I wonder if I should try to spam use all of these days of the weeks, for example, on one page, because that could totally work, but I haven't committed to it yet. So let me know if you guys would like to see that down below in the comments. But as we scroll through here, we could bring in this X and O for additional contrast. I really like the idea of little contrast on this because I knowingly will use most likely a black or very dark pen to journal with. So keeping that in mind, I know I don't want to add too much else in terms of contrast because I don't need it. Although it does seem like it needs it now with that supplementation of the journaling, I won't need it. And again, that's just about thinking ahead in your style. And I know it can be hard until you really nail down what your style is and how you scrapbook, but over time you'll start to understand how you function in that way and be able to pinpoint those things without having to actually have a layout in mind for it. And that's how I do that for my pages. So just scrolling through here, flipping through again rather, I could have done this beautiful blue and pink combo instead. Really would have been cute, but we didn't. Little birds. We're really running out of choices towards the front of the book, it seems. This is why I flip backwards now, because a lot of the stuff in the front did get used up because I used to flip front to back instead of back to front. So fun tip, if you're trying to use up your sticker books, try switching the way you flip, because you'll use the ones towards the back. And then it's really the middle that suffers, but still making that dent one way or another. Another great way to add additional contrast, clear stickers. I cannot say I love clear stickers enough. I adore clear stickers. I do prefer them to be one color. The multicolored ones can be very tricky, so I understand why people like to put those on plain white cardstock and then trim them out. But I do love a good plain colored clear sticker. So just flipping through the last few pages here, I could add in some gold stars or gold hearts for a little bit of extra pizzazz, but knowing that I don't know if this will be a silver-based or gold-based layout, again, could depend on the photos, could depend on the paper I end up picking for those photos. Knowing that that does not exist and is not ready, I'm not going to commit to a metallic here. And that's something I try to do a lot of times. Earlier we used a gold label, obviously, so that's committing to a metallic. And you can totally mix and match your metallics. I'm not saying you can't do that. I just tend to not to. So I try to keep that in mind when I'm making my embellishment clusters so I don't forget and don't sort of overuse the items that I know I'm not leaning towards using in a particular kit. So to recap, we've done 2 different size clusters, very small, very large. And we had our powder tool today, so hopefully if any of you guys didn't know what I was talking about before, now you'll have that to reference. But we have 2 adorable clusters, and sometimes it is just about knowing what you like to work with and what you prefer. I like plain things to start, and then I like heavy embellishing on my final layout. And although I would love to build these out as huge clusters with all the bells and whistles, I've done that in the past in previous videos, I just know that I simply will not work with them as easily that way. So keeping that in mind and keeping it simple is the best for me. And again, 2 little examples here, both journaling options. We got a lot of room on this one, a little bit of room on that one for a date or something similar. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this cluster video. I have to de-stickify this one still and add some glue to this one so everything stays in place. But if you guys did enjoy, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. Again, I'll have everything else linked down below in case you missed any of the previous stuff I've done with my March kit so far. And again, the pages and projects are coming, and they'll be featuring some of these embellishment clusters, which I'm super excited to see where it takes me. None of this was pre-planned, all done live for you guys, because it's important to walk people through different processes and different thoughts about how things can come together and how my brain works in terms of color palettes and texture and all of that. And I know you guys really enjoy hearing about it too. So thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.